We're going to start doing some work on graphs. And what we're going to do for this lesson is we're going to look at page 86 and that booklet that's just been uploaded. You'll see it is on your wee stream as Term 2, Booklet 2. And what I want you to do is I want you to tell a story. So, if I look at the first one, my wee story could be, Jimmy left his house and he drove for 120 kilometres and that took him 2 hours. He then stopped for 2 hours and then he drove 2 more hours, and in those 2 hours he drove 30 kilometres. And you might want to have a wee story in here. So this is distance in metres. You could say Jimmy ran 10 metres and it took 4 seconds. He then stopped for 2 seconds and then ran back. But he didn't get back to the start. He stopped 2 metres before the start. This wee one you might say, a person drove their car for an hour and a half and they went 60 kilometres. They stopped for half an hour and then they drove for half an hour and went 40 kilometres. You might want to say they were faster in the second part as they were in the first part. This graph you don't have to do. This one here, you might say, Jimmy was 25 miles from home. He drove towards home and he stopped 10 miles before he got home. And he waited there for 20 minutes. And then he drove the whole way back home those 10 miles. And those last 10 miles took him half an hour. For this here you might say, Jimmy started at home and went for 1 hour and drove 36 miles. Then he stopped for 15 minutes and then went a bit faster and went 24 miles, and this took him 15 minutes. This one here, you might say, Jimmy went for 3 hours and went 60 kilometres, stayed there for 1 hour and then came back home, but it only took him 2 hours to get back home, so he was faster. This one here, you might say, Jimmy spent an hour and a half going 60 kilometres. He then stayed there for 1 hour and then came back really fast and he came back in only half an hour. And this one you might say, Jimmy was 30 kilometres from home. He then went back and in 15 minutes, that's 15 minutes the first box, in 15 minutes he had travelled 18 kilometres. Then he stopped for half an hour and then went home, and this time took him, that would be each wee box is 15 minutes. It took him 45 minutes to go 12 kilometres. So any wee stories like that would be super.